As we're going over this section, there's actually 4 cases. We already went over the case 1, and this is case 2. And the difference between case 1 and case 2 is that Q, meaning your denominator, has repeated linear factors. I'm going to again try to do all 6 of these problems. If I can, I'll stop at maybe 25. But I'm going to go up to 20 minutes if possible. So these are a little more complicated, and you're going to have to use system of equations on these usually. Okay, so what we have, the first one is 19, and this is our rational expression, and we have to decompose it. So the difference between what we did last time and this time is this is a repeated linear. This is called repeated linear because there are 2 of them. And remember what we're doing, we're trying to find what goes up here. So when we multiply all this together, we get x squared for the numerator. And our LCD is this one, our least common denominator. So if you could have something like this, but the LCD, that means your least common denominator is only this and this. Because this could be included in that when you do your LCD. Okay, again, we'll talk about that more in class. But with the same procedures we're going to use, we're going to multiply each of these terms by the LCD. So I'm multiplying each piece by the LCD. I'm just going to put LCD just to save space here. LCD, which is this. So when you multiply this by the LCD, it cancels. So this will cancel and you're just left with x squared. When you multiply this by the LCD, you're left with x minus 1 times x plus 1, because this goes into this one time, because there's actually 2 of these. Okay, so this would cancel with 1, and you're left with the other 2, plus b. In this case, this is the LCD. These both would cancel. So you're just left with x plus 1 and plus c, and you need both of those because this time this one would cancel. So you get c times x minus 1 squared. So we cleared the fractions, and now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to let x be 1. If we let x be 1, what will happen? If we let x be 1, this is going to zero out my a, and it's also going to zero out my c. So let's go on the next slide and do that. So we're going to let x be 1. Again, you need to write these down while you're watching it. So basically you're going to have 1 squared equals, I'll write all this one out for now. So basically, we didn't need to do a and c here because this is 0, and 0 is going to zero all this out. So that just zeroes out. This is going to zero that out. So we get 1 equals 2b. So b is 1/2. Okay? Now let's let x be negative 1. So if we let x be negative 1, we're going to get 1 again, because we'll just do it this way. Negative 1 squared equals a times negative 1 minus 1 times negative 1 plus 1 plus b times negative 1 plus 1 plus c times negative 1 minus 1. In this case, this will zero out, so that whole thing goes away. B will zero out, and we get 1 equals negative 2c. Oh, this is supposed to be squared, sorry. So we get negative 2 squared c, and so c is going to be 1/4. Okay, so now we know that b, we're going to go to the next page, b is 1/2, and C is 1/4. So now we're going to go ahead and let x be 0 and see what happens. If we let x be 0, we get 0 squared equals, and there's a different way to do this. I'm going to do this in class, but right now I'm doing it this way. We get this. Now, and that yields 0 equals negative A plus B plus C. And the reason I did 0 is because I want a 0 here. Now if I add A to both sides, I get A equals B plus C. Well, I already know what my B and C is, so we got A equals B 1/2 plus 1/4, which this equals 3/4. So now my final equation is, and I'm not going to write the whole thing, I'm just going to write the decomposition part, is 3/4 over x minus 1 plus 1/2 over x minus 1 squared plus 1/4 over x plus 1. And this was my A, B, and C. Okay? A little more complicated. Let's do 20. We're already at 6 minutes now, so might go a little faster. We have the same kind of thing. We have x squared, or x plus 1, over x squared times x minus 2. So this has repeated linear because I can write this as x times x. So we have a over x plus b over x squared, because this part's included in that when you're doing your LCD, plus c over x minus 2. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is clear the fractions by multiplying each piece by the LCD. LCD, each piece gets multiplied by the LCD. So, of course, this right here, this cancels with the LCD, so you just get x plus 1 equals a times x minus 2, because this x cancels with one of these x's here, but you're still left with another x, plus b. In this case, they both cancel with both the squares, so you're just left with x minus 2 plus c x squared. So the first thing I want to do probably is let's let x be 0. Let's see what happens if we let x be 0. If we let x be 0, we get 1 equals, and what happens here, this is going to 0 this out, so we don't need that. It's also going to 0 out my c, so I'm going to get negative 2b, so b equals negative 1/2. So we have that, and let's let x be 2. We let x be 2, we get 2 plus 1, and that's going to 0 out my a and my b, so I just have my c. So that's going to be 3 equals 4c, so c is 3/4. And now we're going to go ahead and let x be 1. Now the reason I want to let x be 1 is if I let x be 1, it doesn't really matter. You can let it be anything, but I'm going to let x be 1 here. So when we do this, we're going to get, let x be 1. Might even want to let x be negative 1, but if you let x be 1, you're going to get 2 equals negative a minus b plus c. Now remember, we already have, what are we looking for? We're looking for a, because we already have b and c. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the a over here and subtract the b over here. So I'm going to have a equals negative b plus c minus 2. we already know what B and C is. So B is 1/2, or -1/2, sorry, and C is 3/4. Then we subtract the 2, and what we're going to get is -3/4. So now we have our A and our B and our C. This is our A. This equals A. And the way you're going to write it is x plus 1 over x squared times x minus 2 equals my A, -3/4 over x, plus -1/2 over x squared, plus 3/4 over x minus 2. And keep in mind, this is our LCD, so we definitely needed all three pieces. We needed an A, and a B, and a C. And if you combined all this and cleaned it up, you would get back to that. Okay? The next one I found was 23, so let's look at 23. 23 is quite long, so I don't know how far we're going to get on this, but let's do 23. 23, let me start it on this page. 23, we have x squared, this is 23, over x minus 1 squared times x plus 1 squared. So I have to put the A over the linear term plus the B over the repeated linear term. Then I have to have a C over the linear term, the second linear term, and a D over the repeated linear term. Okay? When you clear the fractions, you're going to get x squared equals A times x minus 1 times x plus 1 squared. Again, you should be writing these down. Plus B times x plus 1 squared plus C times x minus 1 squared times x plus 1 plus D times x minus 1 squared. So please have this written down on your paper because it's really hard to write all this on the paper. Clearly we're going to let x be 1 because that's going to get rid of this. If you let x be 1, you can get rid of D, C, and A. And if you let x be -1, you'll get rid of everything but D, I believe. So then we're going to have to do the system of linear equations. So here we go. We're going to let x be 1, and you should have this written down. Then we're going to get 1 squared equals, and clearly A, C, and D zero out. So the only thing you're going to have is 1 plus 1 squared times B. So this is going to be 1 equals 4B. So B equals 1/4. Alright. Now, let's let x be -1. When you let x be -1, everything clears out except D. So we're going to have -1 squared equals D times -1 minus 1 squared. So we have 1 equals 4D, so D equals 1/4. So that's just knowing from, and we'll, like I said, we'll do a lot of these in class, but these videos right here are mainly for if you want to review later on for your quiz. So you should already kind of know some of this. Anyway, now we have B and D, and we need A and C. And that one's going to be tough because they have the same values. So what we're going to go ahead and try is we're going to let x be 0. And the way you do that is we're going to have x squared equals A times 0 minus 1, 0 plus 1 squared, plus B times 0 plus 1 squared, plus C times 0 minus 1 squared times 0 plus 1 plus D times 0 minus 1 squared. And this all comes out to be 0 equals negative A plus B plus C plus D. Now the problem is we only have B and D. So I'm going to go ahead and move A and C over. So I know A minus C equals 1/4 plus 1/4, which equals 1/2. And that doesn't help me. I still need to know what A and C is. I only know that A minus C equals 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and let X be 2. You let X be 2, you're going to get 2 squared equals A times 2 minus 1 and 2 plus 1 squared plus B times 2 plus 1 squared plus C times 2 minus 1 squared times 2 plus 1 again, alright, plus D times 2 minus 1 squared. In this case we get 4 equals 9A plus 9B plus 3C plus D. Now when you plug in your B and D, you're going to get, I'm going to move over 9A and 3C, so you're going to get 9A plus 3C equals 4 minus 9B minus D. And you plug everything in, you're going to get 3A plus C equals 1/2. So now you have a system of equations. You have this one and you have this one. So we're going to solve a system of equations, and we get A minus C equals 1/2 and 3A plus C equals 1/2. We're going to add this. We get 4A equals 1. So A is 1/4. Plug it back in, the A back in, you get 3/4 plus C equals 1/2. So C equals negative 1/4. Okay? Now, your final equation will be 1/4 over x minus 1 plus 1/4 over x minus 1 squared plus negative 1/4 over x plus 1 plus 1/4 over x plus 1 squared. Okay? And that one was which one? 23? Okay, let's look and see what 24 is. 24 is the same. 24 is basically almost the same. 25 is basically the same. And 26 is basically the same. And I think I can do 25 if you want. So let's do 25 real quick. So we have x minus 3 equals x plus 2 times x plus 1 squared. That gives you A over x plus 2 plus B over x plus 1 plus C over x plus 1 squared. Now, when you multiply and clear the fractions, you're going to get x minus 3 equals A times x plus 1 squared plus B times x plus 1 times x plus 2 plus C, or plus C, times x plus 2. Alright? So I don't know what you want to clear, but let's go ahead and let x be negative 2. So basically you have -2 minus 3 equals, and we're just solving for a because it's going to knock 0 out the b and c. You're going to get a times -2 plus 1 squared. -5 equals a. So a is -5. Now let's let x be -1. Then you have -1 minus 3 equals a. Well, I'm not going to do that. -1 is going to clear out a. It's going to clear out b, but not c. So we're going to do c times so that's going to be -1 plus 2. That's times c. So you get -4 equals c. So we have that. Now let's let x be 0, and that's going to clear everything out but b. So we let x be 0. So that's going to give you 0 minus 3 equals, no, it's not going to, let's see, it's not going to clear anything out, so we're going to have to write it out. So we have a times 0 plus 1 squared plus b, it does, no it doesn't, 0 plus 2, 0 plus 1, plus c times 0 plus 2. This yields -3 times -3 equals -5 plus 2b plus 2 times c, and then you plug in all your values. You're going to get -3 equals -5 plus 2b plus 2 times -4, and we're solving for b, so we get 2b equals 10, so b is 5. Therefore we have x minus 3 over x plus 2 times x plus 1 squared equals -5 over x plus 2 plus 5 over x plus 1 plus, and go ahead and just write plus here, -4 over x plus 1 squared. Okay, and that is all. The next two cases we're going to go over is case 3 and case 4. These have to do with quadratic factors. This is quad factors. This is non-repeated. For that one, and this is going to be repeated. As you can see, repeated is a lot harder than non-repeated. Okay?